What's going on? Welcome to Celtics Postgame Live. Tom, Giles, Scal, Perk. Celtics fall 98-95 to the Miami Heat. So they lose back-to-back games here to close out the road trip. And Perk, I want to start with you. And by the way, we're going to get highlights and video of those final plays there that you saw there at the fourth quarter. We're also going to have the reaction and everything else coming down. But I just want, Perk, your thoughts on this game from the Celtics. You know, they're up by 10 points, and then they go in that scoring drought, and you see Miami going on that 15-0 run, and Celtics not exactly able to kind of keep up after that.
Well, we saw everything that Scal and I talked about pregame. And by the way, let me see y'all for a second, because I need to see both of y'all.
There we go.
Where's Eddie House? Where's Eddie House? Because I understand that. But bring him on, because didn't we talk about this? And I said, man, listen. The one thing that I'm afraid of, meaning scared of, is the coaching, right? Like the Celtics were held to 95 points. They couldn't figure out the zone matchup, the zone that Eric Spoelstra put out there. That's why they scored 13 points in the fourth quarter that Scal talked about, the zone. Okay, and then I told Eddie, I said, hey, man, coaching matters. Coaching matters in a 7-game series. Here it is. It just showed just now. While he was sitting up here arguing me down, talking about the game is won between the lines, yeah, it is one. That's part of it. But the other part is having a leader to be able to coach guys and put them in position to be successful.
So, Perk, so it does sound like you're kind of calling out Joe in this situation. The Celtics had a 10-point.
I don't kind of do nothing. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I am doing it. I ain't kind of doing nothing.
They did have a 10-point lead. And I think they just let go of the rope. So do you think Eric Spoelstra made an adjustment after they had that 10-point lead, or Celtics ran out of gas? Don't you feel like the players should have kind of wrote the ship right there when Miami was going on that 15-0 run? It is odd for a top-tier team in the NBA to go 5 minutes or 6 minutes without scoring in the fourth quarter.
It's not odd when you're missing 3 of your best players. Like, you're missing Marcus Smart, you're missing Jaylen Brown, you're missing Malcolm Brogdon. It's nothing odd about what happened tonight. I mean, no disrespect to Peyton Pritchard or Grant Williams. I love both of those guys, but they're not Marcus Smart or Jaylen Brown. Sure. So if you're shorthanded, at the end of the day, a 10-point lead is not nothing in the NBA. You know this, Scal.
Yeah.
We just watched the Lakers come back from being down 25 to beat the Portland Trail Blazers the other night.
Yeah, by the way, because we talk about that 15-0 run that we're going to show it to you right now. This 15-0 run by Miami, it's not like Miami just went on a barrage here scoring the ball. And that's what you're going to see. But this is more about the Celtics being ineffective offensively and it leading to decent looks from Miami.
Well, I thought that their ineffective offense led to them letting go of the rope defensively.
Okay.
I just thought their energy suffered. Now, you want to call it 2 games and 2 nights, whatever you want to use, I don't know. But it felt like to me, when they stopped making shots, they lost their defensive intensity.
Scal, Tyler Hero was like 4 for 1,000 tonight. Like, he shot awful.
He's bad.
The ending score is 98-95. And I know we got to go into break and we're going to come back, but we're going to talk about the missed timeout as well. That wasn't called towards the end of the game.
Here we go.
Well, and we're going to show the video of that, but did you, as you're watching that play unfold, Celtics are down by 2.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Jason Tatum's got the ball there. They come over the double.
Yeah, I didn't like it. We'll get into that right now. We're teasing. We're doing it now?
Yeah, we're going to do it right now.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Here's the reason why. When you're down 2, you got to go. This looks like a team it looks like we're tied. It's almost like they didn't know that we were down by 2. And obviously, if you're down 2 and you speed up the game, let's say you miss. They go to the free throw line. Now you get another opportunity. So why we waited, and as soon as Joe saw that, he should have banged that timeout. He had 2 in the bank. He should have banged that timeout as soon as he saw us kind of walking up the floor.
Park, what were you saying as you were watching that possession unfold?
Well, the possession shouldn't have happened because he should have called a timeout way beforehand. You got 2 of them. What you trying to do, take them home with you? For what? You got an opportunity to call a timeout, get a good look, save some clock. That's the whole thing. When you're down, you want to save as much clock as you possibly can to give yourself an opportunity to win. Now, all of a sudden, you draw up something quick out of the timeout, get a good look at the basket, then you get an opportunity to foul, and now you can play the game that way. But I just didn't like this whole thing. But again, hey, what do I know?
No, you're right.
Right?
You're right on that. So if you want to, let's just do the math here. As soon as Bam scores, you call a timeout. So whatever the amount of time it takes you to walk the ball up the floor or jog it up or even sprint it up, Perkins is right. All that time, you get to advance the ball. It's the NBA. It's not college, right? So Joe should have called a timeout right there, and then he could have just settled them in. Obviously, Miami had the momentum. Bam was dominating the game. You could have went out there and said, okay, here's what we need to do. A timeout had to be called on that possession. Just minimum, just to give Tatum a breather. You know, you could tell during that time when it was a 15-0 run, a lot of times Tatum didn't even touch the ball. And my guess was he was just trying to get his legs underneath him, maybe saving something for the last part of the fourth quarter. A timeout had to be called on that play.
But Scott, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Watching Jason Tatum bring the ball up the floor, right? Who, in my eyes, was the best player on the floor tonight. And I know Bam Adebayo was, you know, he played the exceptional game. Watching him bring the ball up the floor, the world knew that the Miami Heat was going to send a double team at him, right? They're not going to let Jason Tatum beat him. So what they going to do is get the ball out of his hands. This is why it's also so important to call a timeout, to make sure that you could put Jason Tatum in position to be successful so that he can get a look off. Forget getting a good shot, just being able to get it off.
Well, and also, I mean, they waited. They waited to double Tatum, and then by doing that, by the time Tatum was trying to get rid of that ball, I mean, even if it finds its way home, you're talking a rush shot, you know?
That was poorly executed. As soon as that ball went in, at that point, just call it timeout. Just don't. And I heard Sean Grandy say, oh, he checked with Tatum and Tatum wanted to go. Now, at that point, no, like, you got to do what's best for the team. If Tatum wants to go, that's not the time. If there's 45 seconds to go, you're down by 2, okay. But at that point, you got to save. When you're down 2 with under 11 seconds, you have to save every second that you possibly can.
Let me just play devil's advocate for 1 second. What if Tatum says, no, I want to go, and he rushes up the floor and he says, I'm going right, I'm attacking right away?
Like, as soon as the ball goes in.
Coach.
Yeah, as soon as the ball goes in, this is how it goes. This is how they do it. The coaches, they get out, they walk right up to the officials, right there. They walk, just like that. And when you do that walk, there is no arguing. You walk on the court, you look at the official, it's a timeout. You save the seconds. Right now, think about the possessions we got. We got one where we turned it over, and then we got Peyton Pritchard up against the clock with 0.6. Let's just play this out. Timeout, advance the ball. Let's say you miss, right? Let's say you take a shot in 2 seconds, 8 seconds on the clock.
Yep.
Well, you foul Miami, they make 1 of 2. You call another timeout, you advance the ball. Now you have 8 seconds down by 3. A lot can happen at that time. All you did was you're starting to eliminate possessions by letting that ball walk up the court. You got to save every second when you're down by 2. It almost they almost played it out like they were tied.
Yeah, like the game was tied.
They looked like the game was tied.